A couple of hours ago, BYD officially released the BYD Atto 3 for sale here in Australia. And I am about to order one. I'm going to run you through the process, show you how it works, and actually put down a deposit for the Yen Plus, well, the Atto 3, as it's known here in Australia. Now, I think they're probably going to call it the Atto 3 in other countries as well, but who knows? Let's wait and see. Which name do you think's better, Yen Plus or Atto 3? Personally, I don't really care. Doesn't make any difference to me. But let's have a look at what I'm actually going to get. Let's compare it to the Tesla Model Y, also a mid-size crossover. Let's also compare it to the Hyundai Ioniq 5, the Volkswagen ID3 and ID4, and the Mustang Mach-E, and maybe even the Kia EV6 as well. All these vehicles are in that kind of market there for the sort of crossover SUV. However, of course, this vehicle is a lot cheaper than all those other vehicles I just mentioned. Now, before I get to that though, hello my friends, and welcome to the Electric Viking. My name is Sam Evans. This channel has provided, I don't know, maybe 50 videos about BYD over the last 6 or so months. Maybe not, but I've lost count. There's been that many. Why have I been making so many videos about BYD? Well, because they are becoming one of the largest, in fact, they were the third largest electric car manufacturer last year. They plan on actually building and delivering 1.5 million EVs this year. They're the fourth largest battery factory on the face of the earth, the second largest maker of lithium iron phosphate batteries or LFP batteries. And the reason I've been making videos is because they're pricing their cars at an affordable price point. I mean, this car I'm about to order, it's very similar to other cars on the market right now that are gas powered, that are the same size, come with similar features. For example, the Volkswagen Tiguan. If you look at the Tiguan, spec for spec, these cars are very similarly priced. If you compare this BYD Atto 3 versus a Tiguan costing a similar price, you're going to find the features are, well, nearly identical. In other words, BYD is the first company that has enabled us as consumers to get an electric car for the same price as a gas, petrol, diesel-powered vehicle. That, my friends, is awesome. So today, in fact, a matter of hours ago, the local distributor here in Australia called Nextport have launched its first series production electric car from Chinese brand BYD. It's going to come out. It's going to be delivered in July. So obviously I'm ordering it today to get delivery in July. The price is around 45,000 Australian dollars. So that's around about 34,000 US, so maybe a little bit less than that. 33,500 US dollars. However, this is just one of many new electric cars coming, not just to Australia, but all over the world from China, in particular from BYD. So when I order it, you're going to see the price I pay. I'm going to select the model with a longer range battery, and I'm going to opt for a colored paint. If you get it with white, there's no cost, but if you want to get a color, then you've got to pay an extra 700 Australian dollars, which is about 500 bucks in US dollars. Now, BYD are kind of similar in a way to Tesla. As you're going to see, you go onto their website and that's how you place an order. You don't go to a dealer, which I love. I mean, to be honest, if I had to go to a dealer, yeah, this would be a big hassle to record this for you, to show you, to negotiate, to work out if I get the best price or not. I hate having to do that. To be honest, I've never actually bought a brand new car before. This will be the first time I do it, and the first time I buy an electric car. And great, it's a new world. Not only is it the first time I buy a new car, first time I buy an electric car, and the first time I buy a car online entirely, 100%. So just so you know, I'm not getting any sponsorship here from BYD or from their distributors or anyone else. I've got to pay the price just as you would, just as everyone else would have to as well. However, the good news is though, I will be able to test drive one of these cars soon. Hopefully, I believe that's happening in March, I've been told. As soon as that happens, I'll give you my feedback on it. I don't get paid like all these other motoring organizations by the car companies. Every single one of them do. And if they lie to you and tell you that they don't, they do. All of them in some way are getting paid by car brands. I get nothing from car brands, not a single cent. So I can tell you the honest truth. They're going to have to, their judgment's going to be clouded because their salaries are literally paid. All journalists, unless they're just YouTubers like me, their salaries are going to be paid by car brands, all of them. Even the ones that claim they're not. They are getting paid by car journalists. I can tell you the way that they are through sort of weird back channels and other ways. That's a good thing. I can just give you my 100% honest feedback on the car. So there's two options here. They're both exactly the same cars. They come with the same specifications. I'm going to run you through those on the website. They both come with a panoramic sunroof. They both come with a single front motor with 150 kilowatt and 310 newton meters of torque. But the difference is one has a 50 kilowatt hour lithium iron phosphate Blade battery pack, and the other one has a 60 kilowatt hour pack. That's the only difference. And you're only paying about $3,000 more for the bigger pack. It's definitely worth it. To be honest, I'd be shocked if anyone bought the vehicle with the smaller pack, because for the extra $3,000, and that's less than 10% more, makes sense. So the base model is 44,380 Australian dollars. The longer range model is 47,380. That means in US dollars, if you're wondering, the base model is 31,850. And the long range model is exactly 34,000 US dollars. Is that a good deal? Well, when I buy it, you're going to see all the specifications, all the details of the vehicle. You can decide for yourself, but I think it's pretty clear that it's an amazing deal. Even though BYD did say it was going to be cheaper, they said it was going to be $40,000 drive away. So it's around about $5,000 more than they said it was going to be. And I don't blame them. They're charging more because they can. I mean, look at Tesla. Here in Australia, we have 7-month waits for just the Model 3. We don't even have the Model Y yet because there's too much demand for the Model Y. So I understand. You might as well charge more if you can. Make hay while the sun shines, they say, right? So what other things does it have? Well, the base model has a claimed WLTP range. That's a real world range of 320 kilometers. The longer range model has a range of 420 kilometers. That's on the European WLTP standard, which is pretty much a fair range estimate. So 420 kilometers of range. Now, it does have a direct rival in a number of markets. You should know about this rival. That rival is a very similar price. It's almost the same exact price. $45,000 that costs. It's called the MG ZS EV. That's also a Chinese EV. It's extremely popular here in Australia. It's the second best-selling EV here in Australia. However, it has a range of 263 kilometers, quite a bit less. And it has a new model coming out which will have a longer range again. So you can see here the Chinese are definitely getting into the market. The other electric car we have here is the Volvo Xc40 Recharge, another Chinese electric vehicle. Polestar as well, they're coming. That's also Chinese. Now, if we look at the dimensions, you see that the length is 4,455 millimeters. The overall width is 1,875 millimeters. And the overall height is 1,615 millimeters. Gives you a good idea of the size. It's kind of a medium to small sized SUV or crossover, whatever you want to call it. Now, what size is the ID3? The ID3 is a bit smaller. It's 4,262 millimeters long, so around about 20 centimeters shorter. The wheelbase is the same as this vehicle, 2.7 meters. The width is 1,809, so it's a little bit narrower. So if you look at the ID4, we'll see the ID4 is 4,584 millimeters in length, meaning the ID4 is about 10 centimeters longer. The width, though, is 1,852 millimeters. So the ID4 width is a little bit narrower than the Atto 3. So you can see here the Atto 3 actually also is higher, a little bit taller. So you can see the ID4 and the Atto 3 are very similar in size. That's going to give you a good idea in terms of the dimensions of this vehicle. Comparing it to the Ioniq 5. The Ioniq 5 is 4.635, so it's about 20 centimeters longer than the N Plus or the Atto 3. It's 1,890 millimeters wide. So they're about the same width, the Hyundai Ioniq 5 and the Atto 5. And then the height is 1,605 millimeters, whereas the Atto 3 is 1,615 millimeters in height. So the height of the Atto 3 is a little bit higher than the Ioniq 5, but clearly it's a bit smaller in terms of its length, a bit shorter. Now, what about the Tesla Model Y? The Tesla Model Y has a wheelbase of 2.9 meters, so its wheelbase is nearly 20 centimeters longer. It's got a length of 4,750 millimeters, so the length is about 30 centimeters longer than the Atto 3, and its width is 1,920 millimeters, meaning it's around about 5 centimeters wider. The Model Y actually, it's surprisingly large. When you look at the photos, you think, oh, that's not a very big car. It's actually surprisingly large and surprisingly spacious inside. So you can see the Model Y is definitely a full size up from the ATO3. You can also see from the Model Y's dimensions that it's actually even a bit bigger than the Ioniq 5, surprisingly. It's longer than the Ioniq 5, it's also wider, and it's higher. However, it actually has a shorter wheelbase. Somehow Hyundai have done a really good job extending the wheelbase in the Ioniq 5 and making an incredibly long 3 meters. I don't know if that's correct. It doesn't seem possible considering the dimensions, but if it is, then it's definitely got a longer wheelbase than the Tesla Model Y. And that's probably one of the reasons why it's so spacious inside. So when am I actually going to get this car? Well, there's been months of delays as BYD has finally opened its mass order books here in Australia. Also, they're selling in Norway. They're about to hit some other countries in Europe. I think they're coming to the UK soon. I think as well, America could be coming next year. The most important car though for BYD hasn't yet been announced. It will be coming, but it hasn't yet been announced. We haven't seen a price for it yet, but it's believed that it's going to cost around $25,000 US. That's the EA1 or the Dolphin. When I find out more about that car, when I get to test drive it, potentially even buy one, I will do so and I'll tell you all about it. Now the ATO3 won't become the cheapest vehicle here in Australia. That title still goes to the MG ZS EV. Obviously, when the EA1, the BYD Dolphin comes to Australia, that will be the cheapest electric car, I believe. However, there's another car manufacturer bringing another cheap, affordable car to many different countries around the world this year, and that is Great Wall with the Aura Good Cat. I made a video about that. I'll put a link in the description below about that car. That might even be priced at around $25,000 US as well. Now, when I place this order, I do have to pay a $1,000 deposit, which apparently is refundable. But I can't actually finalize this sale until the car arrives here in Australia towards the middle of this year. They're saying July at this point. Unfortunately, they do have display vehicles here in Australia, but all of them were built for the Chinese market, so they're in left-hand drive. That means I can't actually test drive it until the right-hand drive versions come to Australia. Apparently that's happening next month. I'm holding out for that. Now, how many are they bringing here to Australia? Well, apparently BYD are bringing 1,500 electric cars. I don't know if that's just for the ATO3 or if that's across all BYD models this year. Interestingly, I actually test drove the BYD E6 People Mover, which was, BYD sold those for 40,000 Australian, so $30,000 US here in Australia. Paul from BYD Drive bought one of those, and honestly, what a bargain that is. 70 kilowatt hour LFP battery Blade battery pack for 40,000 Australian dollars, for $30,000 US. Incredible bargain. It's a really good size car as well. It's a bit bigger than this vehicle here. BYD is saying they're going to get 15,000 electric cars here in Australia. That basically they're targeting Tesla. They want to beat Tesla this year here in Australia. Tesla sold about, I think, 12,000 electric cars. Here in Australia last year, they could have sold 20,000, but that's all the models that we could get here in Australia from Tesla. So BYD really want to take that electric car sales title here from Tesla. And if they can sell if they can bring 15,000 here to the country, I believe they'll sell every single one of them, meaning they could potentially beat Tesla this year. Depends on how many cars we can get from Tesla Shanghai to Australia. What about the safety of this car? Well, Luke Todd, who's the CEO of the Australian distributor for BYD, has said the ATO3 will launch with a 5-star ANCAP safety rating in Australia. What about servicing? Well, servicing, repairs and deliveries will be carried out under contract by shopping centre-based mechanic MyCar, which previously traded as Kmart Tire and Auto. So where I'll be picking the car up will be from one of these MyCar dealerships, or not a dealership at all, it's a MyCar service centre. They'll do the services. The funny thing is, when I went to MyCar and asked them about BYD, I said, what are you going to do for the service? What is there to service? And they said, we'll check the tyres, we will replace the windscreen wiper fluid, and that's about it. So that's one of the awesome things about electric cars. There's almost nothing to do when they get serviced. So how many electric cars, different models, are BYD bringing? Well, they say they're bringing in 6 different models. This is what they said. Our range of 6 cars will completely change the automotive landscape here in Australia. And we expect to be a top 5 manufacturer within 24 months. That's ambitious. Now, I should point out that the ATO3 was meant to go on sale here in Australia in October of last year. But because of enormous demand in China, that didn't happen. Just look at BYD sales figures in China. They've gone absolutely through the roof. That date was then rescheduled to November of 2021, and then it was rescheduled to February 2022. And now it looks like we're going to be picking the vehicles up about middle of the year. So now's the exciting part. Let's jump on the website and actually order the car. I've just found out the BYD EV3, or the Yen Plus as it's called in China, is now available for purchase. So I'm on the evdirect.com.au website, and I'm going to place an order for what will be my first electric car. Now, as you guys know, I have placed an order for another electric car, which is apparently going to be made next year in the United States. I'll put a link in the description of this video. So if you want to check out that car, you can see that one as well. But I think this is going to come first. Now, apparently, people will start receiving these about the middle of this year. So let's go through the ordering process here. The base model for $44,300. You can see on the screen here it says $44,990, but that's only in Tasmania. That's not in Melbourne or Sydney. The base model is $44,300. That's not drive away. So it's going to cost me a bit more than that. So let's click on Learn More. And let's have a look here. It comes with a 7-year warranty. Now, I was told by BYD that it has a 500,000 kilometer warranty on the battery. And they say they guarantee a minimum of 60% left on the battery after 500,000 kilometers. So that's one of the reasons I want this car. 7-year warranty as well. That's a long time, 7 years. So I'm pretty comfortable with that, especially considering it's a lithium iron phosphate or an LFP battery, meaning I can charge this thing to 100% and all the way discharge it to basically zero, and there's not going to be any battery degradation. So that's exciting. So here, what have we got? AC and DC charging and 80 kilowatt supercharging. That's not that great. Luckily, I won't need to use it very often, the supercharging. But yeah, hopefully they can improve that in future. Efficient and intelligent. So it's got lane departure warning, intelligent cruise control with ABS and traction control. Doesn't have autopilot like a Tesla, of course. Built-in audio phone, ACC and multifunction display. Apparently it's got a 13-inch display that you can... I've already tested the display in another BYD car, and you can make it horizontal or vertical. That's kind of cool. I've got to say I really like the look of it in this color. I'm not sure whether or not I'll get this color or not. What do you guys think? So finance. I'm not going to apply for finance, but it's good to know you can do that. I think a finance is about 3.8%, which is definitely worth thinking about. Ultra safe design. So it's got 7 airbags, curtain airbags. Based on what I'm seeing here, it should get a 5-star safety rating. ISOFIX child restraints. Don't have a baby, so I don't need that. Loads of space, up to 1,330 litres of boot space with the rear seats down. 6-way driver and 4-way front passenger power adjusted seats. So that's cool. I don't know the exact boot space though. So when I find that out, I'll let you know, because obviously that's with the seats down, not with the seats in place. Interior, the dash, to me, yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. I think it's a bit weird. But I do like the display. I do like the area where the shifter is. I do like the fact that it's got a little digital display above the steering wheel as well. So that's cool. And to be honest, at this price, you can't really complain too much, can you? I mean, seriously, this is like just over $30,000 US. So basically, BYD are doing now what GM say that they will do theoretically in a few years' time. That's kind of the cool thing about this. Panoramic sunroof, standard, 8 speakers, 12.8-inch intelligent rotating touchscreen display with Bluetooth phone connectivity. I think it's got wireless phone charging. It does, and DAB digital radio as well. One-touch electric tailgate, electrically heated, adjustable and retractable side mirrors. So let's see the tech specs. The size, that's the thing I think you might be interested in. Let's have a look at the size. Mobile power supply function, VTOL. I'm not sure if it has VTG, vehicle to grid, or not, or V2G. Retractable side mirrors. Both seats at the front are power adjusted. That's good. So here's some of the specs. If you want to see these, you can check them out. I won't go through them all, but if you want to see what they are, you can pause the video here. Dimensions, here we go. So Tesla Model 3 is about 4.6 meters long. This is 4,455. The width is 1,875, which is similar to the Ioniq 5, the Volkswagen ID4, and even not too far off, similar to the Mustang Mach-E as well in terms of the width. So is the height. They're all fairly similar, those vehicles. Wheelbase 2.7 meters. Now I know that the Ioniq 5 wheelbase is quite a bit longer than that, even though the car's not that much longer. The wheelbase is 3 meters for the Ioniq 5. So this is a bit smaller than an Ioniq 5, but it's actually a little bit smaller than an ID4, but a fair bit bigger than an ID3. So that's where the size comes into play with this vehicle. But I mean, we can't even buy the ID3 or ID4 here in Australia. We can't get the Ioniq 5. Well, there's a few thousand coming, but they sold out within 5 minutes. Kia EV6, they sold out within 5 minutes as well. Can't get any of those, plus the price is 50% more expensive than this. Then Tesla Model Y, unfortunately, they're not due to arrive. Probably, we were hoping to get them this year, but it might not be now until next year. And of course, Mustang Mach-E, we don't get them. Ford is never going to sell them in Australia as far as we've been told. That could change. Hopefully it does. Here's the power, 150 kilowatt, front wheel drive, 310 newton meters of torque. Performance, 0 to 107.3 seconds. That's not too bad. Now this is the most important part for me, the range. WLTP range on the variant that I want to order is 420 kilometers. That's a real world range, probably real world 400 kilometers, 420 possibly. Comes with the Blade battery standard, and the extended range variant, which is the variant that I'm going to order right now, is 60.4 kilowatt hour size battery. The standard range variant is 50. So you're only paying a few $1,000s more for a battery that's quite a bit bigger. That seems like a no-brainer to me. Tire size 215s, and I've got to say it looks good. I mean, look at that. It's a good looking car. So let's click on order now. Let's go 47,381, but that's the extended range variant. Let's choose that. Now, if you buy white, that's the price. But if you want a color, you've got to pay more. So gray is an extra $700, and blue is also $700. I'm going to go with gray just because I like gray. Comes standard with 18-inch wheels, but you can't change those. Not that I'd want to, but just so you know. Comes standard with a two-tone interior. Now that I would change to all black because I don't like having kids marking my seats up, which is what's going to happen, but I can't change it, so I'll leave it as it is. Postcode 3134. Now you know where I live. Well, the postcode. And let's pick it up from Melbourne. Let's go continue to payment. Okay, registration state or territory, Victoria. I'm going to say, what happens if I do business? Do business, personal, business, no difference. Okay, let's have a look at these pictures. Now I'm going to ask BYD if can they please order these without the two-tone. I'm not a fan of the two-tone, but let me know what you think of the two-tone. Would you get two-tone or just the one tone if you could choose? Let me know in the comments section below. So as you can see here, there is additional cost here, but this doesn't include the fact that there is in Victoria, you can get $4,000 rebate back when you buy it. So the cost to me will be $51,000, but after the $4,000 rebate, it will come down to $47,000. Due today, $1,000 US. Now let's put in, I'll do it this way, Samuel Evans, and let's go here. Okay, done. Order placed. So there you go. I've done it. It's ordered. I've got to say I'm excited. First new car, first electric car. I'm looking forward to seeing how it works and showing you guys what it's like to drive it, what I think of BYD. I'll go in and compare it to my Tesla Model 3 test drive and compare it to other Tesla vehicles. I'll check out a Model S, and you know what? It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. Tell me what you think of the car. Do you think it's a good price? Do you think it's a good car? Honestly, be brutal, be honest with me. Do you think I picked the right color? Are you interested in a BYD? Would you consider buying one of these at that price? Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I look forward to sharing my experience with you.